Yes, guys, it's episode 10 of Beyond Posing, and this is your weekly episode where we break down some of the posing routines and individual poses we've seen over the weekend throughout NPC and IFBB international shows all over the world. And of course, you don't want to hear from me about what I think about the posing. You want to hear from the professional, from the person who knows the the pros, the cons from one division to the next, fit model, men's physique, wherever it is of course the posing pro, Emma Hyman. Emma, you're good?
I'm very well, thank you, Suki. How are you?
All good, all good. Look, we'll go straight into it
Yeah,
because the weekend just gone
yeah,
was the probably one of the most competitive pro qualifiers in the world. Took place in Spain is the Amateur Olympia. The
yes.
Amateur Olympia awards 30 IFBB pro cards, competitors from all over the world. I think they hit about 800 competitors over
Wow.
2 days. So serious, serious competition. And what we want to do is we want to jump off for this episode. We'll look
Yeah,
at fit model. I want to look
amazing.
at the top three girls who
Yeah,
were awarded IFBB Pro status.
yeah,
All from three different countries. So really keen to look into this and maybe take something from it on what other girls could
yeah,
utilize for
yeah,
next step on stage from those three who've been awarded IFBB Pro status.
absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, let's start. So let me introduce the first one because I don't think you've had a chance to see any of these girls. So let me just start off
No.
with we got Esther. So can you see this one clearly?
Yes, very
Perfect.
clearly.
So once again, Jonathan Moira, who does the videography from for Emilio's show in Spain, awesome stuff. So we're looking through his videos. Esther is from Hungary. She is the first fit model IFE Pro from Hungary. She took the win, the class win, and the overall win to get
Nice.
her IFB Pro status. So we're not looking too much about the physique. We are looking at the posing. And as we know with fit model, very you're going to see a lot of similar posing, but
Yeah,
what makes these girls stand out from the next person? Emma, that's where you are going to educate me and everybody else
yeah.
on what we're seeing and what do you like.
Yeah. So, first of all, stunning stage presence. She's smiling from the very get go when she walks in. There's absolutely no fluffing around in this posing. It all is very flawless. It flows really nicely. There's no moments where it feels a little bit icky. And obviously, that all important front pose for me, the quality of the posing has a lot to do with the physique as well. She is obviously really ticking all of those fit model boxes that we like to see. And let's just go to the front pose first of all. So we'll wait for her to come back around to the front. Beautiful transitions, really nice arm movements. It's nice and fluid. But in this front pose here, if we can pause it, Suki, as you can see here, we've got that really nice ratio from the right glute to the right shoulder. Beautiful taper through the waist. She's got a really small, tiny, slimline waist. So it just ticks all of the boxes with what the judges want to see. There's not too much quad going on here either. The glute is very dominant. She is slightly leaner through that upper body. The only thing I would maybe say is through that back shoulder, the left one, because she's applying a little bit of tension through the delt. We're seeing some striations through the shoulder,
I was going to
which is
say,
definitely what we do not want to see in this category. But obviously, overall, Esther ticked enough of the boxes for the judges to give her that top place in. As she moves through there, the shoulders go back to being nice and full, which is obviously fantastic. The glutes look nice and round and full. She's keeping them lifted the entire time. I always say to the girls, when once you step on stage, there's actually no moment where you relax the lower back. We're constantly in flexion through the lower back because we're arching when we're walking, we're arching the lower back in the front pose, in the transitions. When you step to the rear, those glutes have got to stay lifted. So you've got to make sure you keep that arch through the lower back the entire time. Rear position looks really nice here. Again, a nice amount of balance between the top line, the taper, the roundness through the glutes. There's no hamstring to glute tie in there, which is really important. And sometimes as well, this is where the posing is super important because you can either make yourself look a little bit more conditioned or you can really scale yourself down to make sure you fit the category.
I'll come back to the front.
Nice. Fluid through the arms there. Notice as well how the arms are consistently continuous. The flow never really stops. I also really like that little flash of personality she put right on at the beginning, where she cuts across the shoulders here as she hits that front pose. A little bit of personality, bringing in that stagecraft as well, which is what is going to set you apart from the other girls, bringing that charisma to the stage.
Look, I keep mentioning about all the time. We know that they're not asking you to do too much for your posing for model. Even the transitions are so limited. But like you said, it's showcasing your personality in the
Yeah,
best possible way that makes you feel comfortable. And we see that for the moment she steps on, and even with that little signal before she leaves, not over exaggerated,
yeah.
before she walks off.
Exactly, exactly. The only thing I would say there is that the sign off is a little bit, she's half in, half out of a pose. So maybe just going holding this transitional pose, just to make sure that she can sign off in the transitional pose. And then if she wants to just do an extra little something on the end, then she can. So if we just continue watching here, she'll come back round to the front. She goes into the T pose, and it's a little bit awkward. Oh,
Yeah,
and she's off. So
yeah.
just those little moments, so when you get into that pro lineup, this is what we just want to make sure of through that sign off at the end. Only thing I'd maybe say as well, just on continuously watching it, we could maybe just have a little bit more length through the right leg. The knee is ever so slightly flexed in the front pose. So if we keep watching, and I don't know if you can,
Not
so
this
where she
one.
comes back in and just wait for that front pose, there's a little bend in this front knee ever so slightly. Now, obviously, it switches on the hip flexor, but I would be intrigued to see what it looks like with the leg completely lengthened, just to see if it takes just a little bit of size off the quad, and if it maybe makes the glute pop a little bit more. But that, again, like we say every week, it's a trial and error. It's not one size fits all. It's just seeing what works best for each individual.
Before I ask for the rating, I must admit, I think this is probably one of my favorite film model looks so far this
Yeah,
season. Not just the look, but also the posing. So,
yeah.
Emma, what rating do you give it?
I am going to go with an A minus because it's still stunning. The physique is a massive part of it as well. But just those little intricacies, the shoulder looking a little bit too striated, the leg could possibly look a little bit longer and leaner, finishing off the transition at the end. So just bringing in those final moments just to make it an A star.
Awesome. Well, look, let's look at the next one. So, the next person we got is Selena, and Selena is also now a fifth model IFE Pro. Like I
Oh,
said,
look at
at
that
the Amateur
front pose.
Olympia.
Wow.
Yeah, at the Amateur Olympia, they awarded three pro cards, and she is one of them who takes the IP pro cards in
Yeah.
the Fitball division. So, class winner, top three overall, IP pro. Congratulations, Selena. You, Emma, are going to tell me a bit more about what you like because already straight away I can see differences.
Yeah, absolutely. Differences in the presentation again, faces alive completely. Now, what I do actually really like this front pose. Again, she's a little bit leaner from what we've seen recently that's been placing. And what I will say is she is twisting that front glute forward quite a lot. She's lifting the left heel off the floor, which is something we're seeing throughout the division. It's becoming very congruent and it gives a slightly longer line to the leg. But what I would say is, and this is something that is aside from the posing, just be mindful about how much glaze you put on because the amount of glaze that she's got on through the lower half actually draws attention to the condition. It makes it pop a little bit more. So we just want these little tips and tricks to make sure we adhere to the category do actually make a difference. I'm really enjoying the front pose. She is the only thing I would say for me, I can tell that Selena is flaring that left lat quite a bit. So I would maybe say just close that lat down just a touch. She's got a tiny waist, and because that left glute pops so much, she almost doesn't need to open up the lat so much to make the waist smaller. So maybe just compressing the lat and the shoulder towards each other will still give her the roundness through the shoulder, but might just bring that lat flare down just a touch.
Okay, let's go to the rear.
Nice transition here, very model-like. Flick of the hair, little shoulder pop. So she's going out there with the moments and the transitions. So we're seeing, they are maybe pushing the boundaries and the judges
Definitely.
are potentially allowing it. So again, we've always said in the first year, we're really going to see what the posing criteria is going to become, because initially it was very strict. Well, now we're seeing a lot more than what we were told in the very get-go. So this would indicate to me, if I was competing, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to push that flare a little bit more. I'm going to give them a touch more in the transitions. I'm still going to move quick, but I might just linger just a little bit longer than I might have potentially done previously. Rear position. Okay, so in this rear pose, I think the elbows are too wide. And when the elbows are this wide, what it does is it doesn't frame the taper. We want to bring the hands down a little bit lower. We want to make that gap between the elbows and the waist just a little bit closer together, so we can really create what I call those small diamond windows around the torso, and also just making sure that the shoulders don't look a little bit too dominant in this back pose. Remember, we're fit model, we're not bikini division, right? So bringing the hands a little bit lower, softening out through, not squeezing behind too much. And I also maybe think just taking the feet a little bit wider would just give a little bit more length to the leg, rather than just giving a little bit more quad sweep.
Okay. Go back to the front.
Yeah, lovely transitions, little hands on the hips there. So she's really showcasing herself to the judges. Little flick at the end. I'm going to definitely hazard a guess that Selena has competed on stage before, potentially in the bikini division, whether that is the Ifbb style or potentially in the Elite Pro style. I don't know if she where do you know where Selena is from?
I don't, but the confidence is off the scale.
Yeah, it's amazing. Super. Love that. She's so polished. And this is what I've been waiting for in this fit model division. I've been waiting for those athletes to come through that are a little bit more experienced, and they've got a little bit more stagecraft, and it brings the category to life.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of routine right now, you can really see the difference from fit model to bikini in regards to transitions
Yeah,
and just being a little bit extra with the personality and
yeah,
that flair, which a little bit of sass as well, which
yeah,
we're seeing from Selena, which in a way, I guess with judges and spectators, it's going to struggle to take your eyes off her because
exactly.
she's so engaging.
Yeah, she is. Look at the face, like the face, the little shoulder moments, like she's really using the eyes to connect with those judges as much as possible. So very, very enjoyable to watch.
What rating do you give her?
I am going to go, I'm going to give her a solid A. I
Uh,
think the posing has kind of been the most consistent. Um, I know there's posing adjustments to make, but on the whole, it's a very, very high standard from beginning to end.
I think one of the key things you pointed out as well, and this is probably for people who may are more stronger, has got strong glute development, but
Yeah,
anywhere else, is there's no need to over exaggerate flaring of a lat
no,
in this kind of the one main
in
thing
this
you pointed out
category,
here for the front pose.
exactly. Yeah, we don't want to aggressively flare that lat. Um, it takes away from that glute being a little bit more dominant.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well,
personal preference, really enjoyed her posing.
Celine, excellent job. Well done, and congratulations on your IFE Pro status. Let's go to the last person, and we go straight to Jen. And Jen is one of the newest IFE Pros. Like I said, there were three IFE Pro status cards that were awarded. I believe she's from Spain. So already I could see I can see quite a few differences straight away from the front
Yeah,
pose to
yeah,
transitions. Emma, and give you a chance to have a look at this. Gonna let
yeah,
play one more time, and then we'll
yeah,
pause at certain places.
yeah. If you could pause at the front pose, that would be amazing. So, yes, some disparities between what we've seen with the other girls, a little bit less refined. She was also bringing a lot more of a muscular physique as
Definitely.
well. So it's important that, if you are carrying more muscle in this division, you've got to size yourself down. We're not posing up in this division. We're trying to really create nice, long, lean lines through the physique. We're not looking to showcase heaps of quad sweep or separation or really round fold outs. But let's talk about the posing. So in this front pose, what's happening is that the foot position is too wide.
Yeah.
The right leg is extended too far away from the physique. It makes that lower half look thicker, especially because she looks like she's quite petite. So when you're petite and you've got this amount of muscle, you look very dense. So we've got to hide that. So that means that we need to think about the position of the foot on the left side, first of all, because we can see quite a lot of quad sweep here. What we'd ideally want to do is hide this a little bit more, and maybe do that by bringing the right foot further forward so it's a little bit more staggered rather than creating a wide base, bringing that right leg forwards, and then also not thinking about externally rotating through the quad. Although she looks superb, it's just not in line with the criteria that we want. So I would recommend just sizing down through this, probably twisting the hips a lot more around to the left so we get more of the glute rather than the quads. And also just not pulling the arms behind the body, bringing them forwards. There's a little bit more taper through the waist as well, and just softening off through that upper body as well. Fantastic physique, but we just need to amend the posing to suit the criteria.
I was gonna say, like, this is probably one of the only girls so far we've seen out of the other two where the back shoulder isn't really coming across. Now, are we right to say that if you have a very wide stance, that makes it a bit more difficult to get the shoulder across?
Yeah, and well, what she's doing is, yeah, because the feet are so wide, she's swinging backwards on the left side of the body. And you would be right in saying that because if the feet are closer together, you're centered a lot more. You're stood far more on the left leg. The left leg is the standing leg here. The right foot, you see, with some of the girls, they're actually lifting that right heel off the floor, so they're not even putting much body weight on the right leg. She's very much so locking into both legs, having the feet fully connected to the floor, which is it's almost giving figure vibes to me. And that's definitely something that we want to stay away from.
Okay. So I think that was the end of it.
Yeah. Also for me, the big sign off kiss at the end isn't, I think it can just be refined a little bit more. The transitions that she's moving through them quite quickly. But they just need a little bit more just refining, just making them a little bit cleaner so they're not too throwaway in the movement, thinking about the arm placement, finishing off the poses. And when she step into the rear, thinking about, taking her time, keeping the glutes lifted. Now, rear position, the glutes look great, nice and round and full. She doesn't look like she's externally rotating through those quads much because I feel like if she was, we'd see a lot more. The only thing I'd say is through the upper body, she's really pulling those shoulders far behind the
Yeah.
body. Again, in this division, we're not looking for heaps of density through the top line. We're looking for a nice straight top line that's going to showcase taper down into the waist. Pulling those elbows behind the body is going to show the judges how much shoulder cap you've got. And we're not exactly looking for that in this division.
Let's get back to play.
Yeah. And there's a lot of changes through the feet as she's transitioning, which kind of takes away from the flawless fluidity. There's a lot of change in steps rather than the feet being a little bit more continuous when they move. So if you just watch when we come step, 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 step. There's a lot going on. So again, this comes with more practice in the studio, really working on that stage craft, getting the footwork as fluid. And ideally, I always say to my clients, the goal is we want to take as little steps as possible. We want to get from A to B as efficiently as we can. And taking lots of little steps really breaks down the posing. It just takes away from the fluidity of it, and we just don't want that.
Let's go on. What is the rating for this last one?
Okay, so for this lovely lady, stay with Jen. I'm gonna give. It's tricky because she got a good body, so it's like it's a little bit takes your eye off it. I'm gonna go with a C plus, and that feels harsh, but the body is amazing. But the posing just isn't in line with the criteria for me. There's work to
Okay.
be done, but that's good because there's heaps of room for improvement.
Well, look, job done for all three girls. They got Ivory
Yeah,
Pro status. We'll see them in the pro ranks next year. Now, the next person we're going to finish off this episode with one last person, and
yeah.
we are going to go straight over to the US. because we
Yeah,
saw the return of Shenique.
yeah,
She's back. The two-time Miss Olympia champion has moved over to wellness. Shenique Grant competed in wellness in the first time. I think it was a top six finish. Now, look, she's a superstar. Everyone loves her. Always been a flawless look at the Olympia for the previous division. Now she's taken on a challenge with wellness. So I thought what we'll do, let's look at Shanique's routine in her
yeah,
debut wellness class. So
yeah.
Emma, have you had a chance to see her
I
this yet?
actually haven't seen this, but I'm picking up things as we're going through this video already. So they're really small corrections because, like you just said, a well-known IFBB pro, lots of experience on that stage, lots of posing experience as well, and also known for being an excellent poser in the figure division. So front pose looks stunning. We've got the glute pop, we've got the thickness through the right quad. We're getting that hourglass shape, but we're still getting the development through the shoulders to give us that nice taper. My main pet peeve with this division sometimes is how much the girls move the arm around. So I don't know if you can take that back at all, but just to see the arm, it's not staying still. And I just think it's very distracting. So just have a watch here. Still going, still going,
And
still
stop.
yeah. So it's distracting. Just hold the pose. Let the judges see you in it. There's no reason to be moving and wiggling the arm around. And for me, it just distracts from the physique. And that is the main correction that I would really give for this entire routine. The rear pose looks sensational. There's a little bit of a glitch there when she transitions back round into the second side. And so we're obviously just refining that and just making sure that that routine is fully locked in. The only thing I would say is potentially in that front position, just moving the hair off the right shoulder so we can see sorry, off the left shoulder,
Yeah,
because I think there's a moment, it's not at the beginning, maybe the end, but we can't see all of that taper. It's almost kind of hiding the taper. Now, even though this is wellness, we still want to see that diamond shape. Yeah, we still want to see that upside down triangle. Because it adds more taper to the waist. So I would have liked to have just seen maybe the hair moved, and just keeping that the moving arm, keeping it a little bit softer once we hit in those positions. Of course, it can move when we're working through the transitions. This is nice. This is nice. She keeps it moving. Then here, hit it and hold it. You see, there's a little bit of a bounce and a drop there on that left arm. Just hit it and hold it. Again, we're covering here, so we
yeah,
can't quite see the shoulder, the taper. Now, maybe there's a reason for that we don't know. Maybe she's a little bit too hard or dry there. We don't know. But from the rear, she doesn't appear to be. So looking at the shoulders from the rear, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more taper on the front and the side pose. Rear position, I mean, look, those hamstrings, those glutes, those adductors, they speak for themselves. And the shoulder cap looks great. The taper coming down into the waist, we can see the waist looks tiny. And so it's super impressive. Yeah, little wobble there, loses that footwork into that side position. I'd maybe like to see a little bit more of the left delt in this side facing pose, just to give us again just to finish off that upside down triangle shape in the side pose. But through the lower half, I mean, it looks sensational. Yeah, she is flicking that hair around that left shoulder, so maybe there's a reason for it, and we don't know, and maybe that's the reason because we're not supposed to know.
yeah. Well, look, she's back on stage this weekend, so I look forward to seeing her compete for the second time in the wellness division. So well done, Shanique. Okay, guys, that is a wrap for this episode. So hopefully you took plenty away from the football side. Now, of course, if you are competing in the football division, maybe there's an app that you should download that will give you all the details that you need for your fingertips. That's, of course, the Posing Pro app. Emma, any new stuff that's been happening on the app this week?
So it's check-in day today, so everyone is in the height of the season, so there's lots of lean bodies coming through. And you know what's fantastic with the app? Just seeing people's gradual progress over the weeks, every single week, having that accountability with us, meaning that we do not take our foot off the gas. Every single week, there's more improvements being made, and I think that's really the missing dot between your one-to-one sessions and getting on stage. So it's really going well. There's some fantastic progress. I'm excited to see everyone on stage this year.
Perfect. Well, look, well, guys, if you want more information about the app, about the Posing Pro, the link is on the bio. Do check it out. And like I always say, it's all about convenience. If you can have something on touch your fingertips, rather than go on different apps or different Instagram pages, find what you want. Everything is in one place. So do check it out. Details are below. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next episode.